All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're going to hear from our partners at the state of Alaska to talk about recovery assistance following the Western Alaska storm that moved through with the remnants of Typhoon Merbok. I'd like to hand it over to YKHC's President and CEO, Dan Winkelman.
Yeah, welcome everyone. I asked everyone to get together on this forum today so we could share all the good work that's been done over the last week by the state and federal governments, National Guard, Red Cross, many tribal organizations all along the Yukon-Kuskokwim region. Very thankful, first of all, for everyone really coming together. Fantastic organization for a great many people all across our region who really need help at this time. And so first, I think we should probably do some introductions. I'm Dan Winkelman. I'm President and CEO of the Yukon-Kuskokwim Health Corporation. And then we have some other guests here. Please introduce yourselves.
Hello, my name is Desiree Chambers. I'm an emergency manager in the State Emergency Operations Center, and I am the Branch 1 supervisor, which is the YKHC your region. I had the opportunity to be in Bethel last week and getting to see communities directly.
Yeah, welcome.
I'm Jeremy Zidek. I'm a public information officer with the state's Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. Work really closely with Desiree, and happy to be here.
Welcome. So if we could start maybe with a summary of all the work that's been going on for the last week. I know there's just been hundreds, literally, of people doing good work all across the region. And I've been participating in the daily phone calls every morning with all across the region. And so I know of all this that's been going on. And if we could communicate that to the region, I think that'd be really important. And then wind up our presentation with how affected individuals can get individual monetary assistance. That's really, really important for all the people that have lost subsistence equipment, who have sustained damage to their house. Last check, we had just over 100, I believe, both here in the Yukon-Kuskokwim region and up in the Norton Sound region, with homes that have been affected with damage. And so if we could communicate the best ways that people who've been affected can access that individual monetary assistance, that would be great.
All right, well, I'll go ahead and start since I just got in from Bethel on Saturday night. I had the opportunity to fly out there and was located at the Bethel Armory along with our National Guard and Alaska State Defense Force soldiers who are, Alaska State Defense Force is a voluntary force, part of our Alaska Organized Militia who were activated for this, as well as with the Red Cross. And we had the opportunity to charter a flight and to go in with the Red Cross. I went in with the Red Cross regional disaster officer, Brian Casella, and a couple of disaster assessment teams from the Red Cross. And the communities we were at were Cooper Bay, we went to Chivak, Kipnik, we went to Newtok, Napakiak, Elekanuk, I think Nunamikwa, and I think Tununuk, as well as, I think that's the gist of it. And in top of that, the National Guard went to a lot of those places, including is looking at going to more, like such as Nightmute and Tuksuk as well. And in that, we had the opportunity for the Red Cross to do some disaster assessments of individual homes that were damaged. And for homes with major damage, they were able to provide some financial assistance on the spot, and I'll have a small thing to read from them. I got to talk with some tribal administrators and others from each of the villages that we visited, and was able to take a look at some of the impacts, those larger community impacts, both to what we call the lifelines, the water systems, the water lines, the sewer lines, the communications lines, and electrical lines, that sort of thing. We'll see the impacts to individual communities and be able to report that back so that we can do a whole, kind of a whole community approach towards getting those communities back on track and towards recovery, especially in view that winter is coming so quickly. The Red Cross itself was able to do some, I think, some really good work. Let me take a look at what Ryan Casella said. We had 60 individuals in their disaster response coming from all over the United States into 6 response teams out of Nome and Bethel hubs and in Anchorage. They were able to visit 13 communities in the YK Delta area, and they documented 201 homes affected, 103 of which were majorly damaged and 14 of which have been classified as destroyed. And that's in both your region and the Florida region. Red Cross has provided immediate financial assistance to those homes, and they, in collaboration with the SCOC, ABCP, and YKHC, they had a team out of Bethel visit communities, leaders from 10 communities, and conducted aerial surveillance more. And then through these, the Red Cross and SCOC were able to gather information on community needs. And so they gathered that information and were able to ask specifically, what does your community need to be able to move forward? And that would be needs for repairs, as well as cleanup kits, food, water, maybe comfort kits. There's kind of a wide range, tarps and building supplies. We took and gathered that information and able to bring that back. At the same time, I'm also what's called the mass care supervisor, normally in my day-to-day operations, and we had somebody back in here in Anchorage who has taken that mass care supervisor position while I've been in Bethel, and his name is John Ramsey, working very hard to coordinate with our Alaska voluntary organizations active in disaster. That includes the Red Cross, includes Team Rubicon, which is a team of a lot of them are former military to come out and help with cleanup after major events and storms. And they're coming out to regions to do an assessment for help, and Legal and Social Services and other organizations that are working with Grant Aviation, Alaska Airlines, and the airlines and others to bring food and water and other supplies directly to the communities. So they're continuing to gather that diverse formula and other requests, and then bring those out to the community. So that is an ongoing process. We have more items. I think they have 14 pallets that are getting ready to ship out to I think Bethel and Nome, so at least half of them to Bethel, which we hope to get to Cooper Bay and other communities affected by the storm.
If I lived out in one of the coastal communities and I happened to miss getting on or this assessment list because I was gone last week, and now I'm dealing with this home or subsistence camp and debris everywhere, and what's the best way to get on that assessment list?
Well, I would say the first and foremost is to communicate with your local leadership and let them know what your needs are, because a lot of times that those needs can be addressed locally, and when they can't be, then those local leaders can turn around and talk to other community or other regional partners or the state and make those emergency requests to us. But really that local support is the support that's right there in the community, and as getting to these places is one of the major difficulties. And so we always want people to first look for that support locally, then you look at the regional support and then look for it statewide. Red Cross does have a 1-800 number. It's 1-800 Red Cross. And if you wanted to speak to them about some of your needs, you could do that. And I can cover some of these numbers and the other recovery options when we get to the recovery piece.
So I had an opportunity to speak to Brian Casella. He is, as I said, our regional Red Cross Regional Disaster Officer. And even as the teams that are out in Western Alaska start to draw down, they are keeping the entire program open and are able to, if they haven't got there in person, they'll be able to use virtual assessments as well to provide assistance. So that is not going away quickly. They recognize that they haven't been able to get out to every community and every person affected, family affected, home affected. And so they will continue to provide those assessments. In addition, I wanted to share that our National Guard partners and our Alaska State Defense partners were able to go out and provide some assistance to communities. I watched them in Utah, fixing boardwalks and steps to homes. They provided cleanup for minor spills. They helped repair small areas of roads. And with cleanup in Chivak, they were in Nightmute providing assistance, and they are looking to visit other communities. So if there's a community that they have not been to that was affected by the storm, and that community would like the National Guard and the State Defense Force to come out and maybe assess and help with some cleanup, they're happy to consider that request, and they are wanting to make sure that they are available if possible to do some of that cleanup. So they've done a lot of great work and are able to look at what other needs have that are out there, and so that when we look at that bigger picture, that's that continuing need and help direct resources appropriately.
So we're little more than a week out after Typhoon Merbok, and it sounds like most of the assessments have happened. National Guard and the militia are out in villages, from what I heard last week, and helping with debris cleanup. And now my understanding is this week there's an opportunity to register or apply for individual assistance. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. We have both a state disaster declaration and a federal disaster declaration. And our state's disaster declaration activated our state individual assistance. We're one of the few nations in the state that have individual assistance programs, and I think that ours is the most robust individual assistance program as far as state level goes in the nation. So that's good news for those who have been impacted. But along with that, we also have the federal government's FEMA's individual assistance program that's been activated. There's the Small Business Administration disaster recovery loans that have been activated, and we still have Red Cross out there doing assessments and providing assistance. So first, for our state's individual assistance program, if you want to register for it, you can go to ready.alaska.gov. And at the top, there'll be a link to register for individual assistance. That is open today, Monday, September 26th. On Wednesday, September 28th, we're going to open the telephone registration, our IA hotline. The number for that is 1-855-445-7131. And we're staffing that right now. We're getting those folks trained up to process the individual assistance applications. We know that we may need to go out into the field and do some in-person registration, especially for the areas that are hardest hit and have really complex individual assistance cases. And we're looking at ways to make that happen. Right now, people are still trying to get back into their homes. We're trying to really stabilize the situation, get things restored to more normal before we bring a lot of people out into the community to do this recovery work. So they can start their application now online. Wednesday they can call, and there may be an opportunity to do that in the future. Second is FEMA's individual assistance program. And if you go to FEMA.gov or call 1-800-621-3362, you can register for FEMA individual assistance today. They'll ask you to enter in your zip code when you go there, and you'll just have to select the region that you live in, and then you'll be able to go through their process. On top of that, Small Business Administration provides disaster loans to people that have the financial means to repay those. And they also have loans for small businesses. And there's different thresholds for each of those. But if you go to SBA.gov, you can apply for the Small Business Administration loans, or call 800-659-2955.
Okay,
And
so
we
there's
understand-
three major ways. It sounds like there's three different programs that are providing assistance. One's for business, and then the other two's under the state government, and that's ready.alaska.gov for people that are connected, have Wi-Fi connectivity. If you don't have that, on this Wednesday, there's telephonic registration where anyone with a phone or people in the village can go down to the tribal office and call 1-855-445-7131, and they'll be connected with the state of Alaska's response program for individual assistance. And then there's a federal assistance program through FEMA.gov, and the telephone number for that is 1-800-621-3362. And is that right? Those are the three major programs, Jeremy?
Yeah, we have the state of Alaska's individual assistance, FEMA's individual assistance, and the Small Business Administration. I would like to take a moment to talk about some of the things that are covered. All of these programs really cover primary residence. So if you have 2 homes and you have another safe, secure place to live, that the secondary residence may not be covered. We look at primary means of transportation, one for winter and one for summer. So if you had, for example, 2 snow machines and one of them was damaged by the flood, we would look at that you have a primary means of transportation still intact. So we look at one for the winter and one for the summer. We do look at subsistence gear, and so things like nets or anything else that you may use, and this could include fish camps, could be eligible under our program. For the process, for both our state individual assistance and our federal individual assistance, we're going to want you to complete that Small Business Administration application first to see if you qualify for one of their disaster recovery loans. And if you don't, then we'll use our federal system is the secondary, and our state system is kind of the catch-all, the third system that we would use to meet the needs. And we understand that this is a lot of applying for people, and that the process requires a lot of patience. And it's unfortunate that that's the case, but with these government programs, we do need a lot of documentation, and there is a process. If people are denied, we really encourage them to read their denial letter really carefully, because that denial letter may just be a request for more information, and when you provide that information, you can move forward with the application. So please, if you are denied, read that carefully. If you don't understand what's in the letter, try to find someone that can explain it to you and provide that documentation. Alaska is different than anywhere else in the lower 48, and rural Alaska is even one step farther different. So we understand that there's a lot of unique circumstances, ownership for property and other living circumstances. And we at the state want to be as flexible as possible with our programs. And we're working with FEMA, not just for this disaster, but every disaster, to give them a better understanding of how our state works and the conditions that we have here, and to try to modify those programs and find ways to utilize all of the funding that's available for people. So please keep applying. If you have questions, you can submit those questions to your state's individual assistance caseworker or to the other program managers. But keep working the process. We know it can be frustrating for applicants, but keep at it, and that's the best way to get the maximum level of assistance.
So Jeremy, it sounds like to me, if I'm someone that was affected and I have damage to my house and I may be missing some subsistence equipment, I need to apply under all three programs. Is that correct? So the
Yeah,
SBA.gov, I need to go there to SBA.gov, or I could call 1-800-659-2955, and I need to do that. And then the second thing I need to do is go to FEMA.gov, FEMA.gov. And if I don't have connectivity, I can call 1-800-621-3362 and apply through the FEMA program. And then I also need to go to the state's program, which is ready.alaska.gov. And the telephone number there, if I don't have connectivity, is 1-855-445-7131. But the bottom line is if I have an opportunity to cover my primary residence and subsistence equipment and transportation, I need to apply under all three of those programs. Is that right?
Yeah, and there's limitations to each of the programs, and but there's areas that can pay for different elements that have been damaged with each of the programs. So we really highly encourage people to apply for all three. When they apply, they're going to need to have identification, some form of identification, proof of ownership of whatever has been damaged or destroyed, a list of the damages. If they have photographs, that's helpful, photos and videos. If they're able to make repairs and they have any expenses that are related to the disaster, they keep those and have those handy when they apply. And then also proof of occupancy. So this could be a utility bill, anything that says that at that time you did live in that property. And gather those documents together. They're going to be helpful for all three of the programs. And so before you apply for any of them, if you gather some of that stuff together, you can really speed the process along.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't realize that. I don't think a lot of people realize that they actually need to apply for all three of those programs. So I'm glad we went over that. We'll also post this on our social media website and make sure that we have all your numbers here with the three programs at the end of this forum. Is there anything else that you want to go over regarding response or logistics, or maybe what's coming in the next week regarding the state and federal governments and the National Guard and Red Cross and militias?
So a couple of things. One, I want to again emphasize that the Red Cross is still, excuse me for that, that the Red Cross is still available to do assessments of homes, and they may be able to provide some immediate assistance to homes and families. And And that number again is 1-800 Red Cross, REDCROSS, and that's 1-800-733-2767. And there's another 7 underneath there for the Red Cross there. In addition, for those, this is a very challenging time with a disaster of this sort, and it can really put a lot of pressure and stress on families when they've gone through a disaster. And so I wanted to share the disaster distress hotline. This is a 24-hour number, but that does provide counseling and an ability to reach out to someone if needed. And that number is 800-985-5990. 800-985-5990.
Okay, thank you.
And then one other resource that we would like to direct people to, if you go to ready.alaska.gov/storm, we've been trying to gather all of the helpful links and resources that are available for storm-related assistance and put them on one website so people can go and take a look at that. And that's ready.alaska/storm.
Okay. Okay, I want to thank both you and Desiree and the federal and state governments. Please pass that along to them, our National Guard and our militias, as well as the Red Cross and other tribal organizations. And thank you for all of the good work that's going on right now in the Yukon-Kuskokwim region and up in Norton Sound. I know people are out there hurting right now, and just wanted to provide the correct information that's been going on with all the help for the last week, and then also what assistance is available to the region. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.